Welcome back to StabtheDragon Productions, episode number 108, as we continue our Texas Rye Whiskey Tournament. We are now in the second round, or the Elite Eight, and tonight is the third contest. Our competitors tonight include Acre Texas Rye 100 proof rum cask finished. I got this in the fall of 2022 at the Acre Distillery here in Fort Worth. It was a special release, so it's not available in any stores, just at the distillery. While no mash bill is released for this whiskey, the bottle does say that it is malted rye and malted barley from Texas, malted, distilled, and aged in Fort Worth, aged for a minimum of 2 years in new oak charred barrels. I shared this with a neighbor last fall, and he loved it immediately, as did I. I paid an amazing $48 at the distillery for this whiskey. In the first round, this whiskey beat out Giant Texas Rye 100 in a very close contest, I might say. This one I picked to be favored to win in tonight's matchup, but there's some ifs about that. Our second competitor, Still Austin Straight Rye. This is known as the Artist. The Still Austin Distillery has a local artist that does the labels, and then they name their whiskeys. And I think that's a very nice, classy touch. Absolutely. This is a straight rye coming in at 99.6 proof. Well, that sounds like a radio station. It's grained glass Texas whiskey, and the mash bill is given. It is 100% Texas rye. The distillery uses Central Texas Hill Country water, and the whiskey is aged in new oak barrels on a char level 3. And as a straight rye, it's got to be a minimum of 2 years aging. This whiskey is not available at Total Wine. It is available at Specs for $47.36 and Goody Goody at $49.99. So both these whiskeys are priced similarly, but availability advantage goes to Still Austin, and that's how I break a tie. If I really can't decide which one is the best whiskey, I go to cost and availability and figure it out from there. Now, under the rules of this contest, really what I'm looking for in a winner is solid rye flavor. And the way this is working out is that the whiskeys that have been aged in climate-controlled warehouses seem to have a big advantage over the whiskeys exposed to the Texas climate. The whiskeys that are in a non-climate controlled warehouse situation, they develop what's known as the Texas funk or Texas char. It gives a lot of barrel flavor to Texas whiskeys, and so if you want to avoid that, then you put it in a climate controlled situation. Now, I favored the Acre to win because I think I like it better. But Acre has a heavy dose of the Texas char from that extreme climate. Plus, it's finished aging in a rum cask. So this has got a rum flavor. It's got the Texas char flavor. Does that obscure the rye? I don't know. The reason this won its first contest is because Giant Texas Rye is also aged in the climate, and so it has a heavy char flavor as well. And the rum cask gave this one an advantage over the Giant Texas Rye. But here, Still Austin, this may come from behind and win the contest because it's nothing but good solid rye flavor all day long. So on to the contest. Now, normally what I do is sometimes I have my wife pour the whiskeys and mix them up so that I don't know which is which. She's not available tonight, and so I poured it and immediately realized that it's pointless. With Glencairns that are not blacked out, I can readily tell that this is the Acre rum cask finish. It's an older whiskey than the Still Austin, and that rum cask, so there's a noticeable difference here in the colors of these two whiskeys. So I'm not even going to pretend and to say, you know, which is which. This one is clearly the Acre, and this is clearly the Still Austin. So normally what I like to try to do is you know, if the whiskeys look close enough, then I play a guessing game about, you know, which one is which, going off of visual, off of nose, and off of taste. So here it's going to be pretty obvious which is which. So let's move right into the nose. And I'm going to start with the Still Austin right away. This has got a very catching rye flavor on the nose. I think its proof helps that. Some of the lower proof ryes, I can just barely catch that rye flavor, but here, no, it's, you know, what is that rye flavor? It's a spicy flavor. Some would say eraser, but I don't usually get that. I think I get that with bullet rye maybe. Eucalyptus possibly, minty, floral. Yeah, that's got a very nice inviting nose. And let's go for the Acre. Or right away, I get the rum. I get the Texas char. And in the background there is the rye. So the char and the rum really kind of tamp down on the rye flavor. Now don't get me wrong, this smells wonderful. This is a very nice, inviting smell. But I'm going to say, given the limitations I've placed on myself for this contest, Still Austin wins the nose. Visual appearance, however, I go with the Acre because I tend to like darker whiskeys. Just aesthetically, I like how they look, and so the darker the better. So, you know, visual appearance, Acre, nose goes to Still Austin. Now let's go to the taste. Wow, that is an amazing rye. Oh, wow. We're still going. Very long finish. I mean, you just immediately on the taste, you get, it just blossoms with that rye flavor. Very floral, very spicy. But as it goes, the spices kind of kick up a notch, definitely. And then it settles down into a long finish of that rye flavor. But there's a kick because it's 99.6. There's a little kick to it. Now, this is not an ethanol kick. It's just, I like a whiskey that has a little punch to it. And I think smooth whiskeys are overrated. I mean, I like some smooth whiskeys, don't get me wrong. But if I had to choose, I'm going to want something that's got a little kick to it. Now, not an ethanol kick. Okay, there's some whiskeys that you get a heavy dose of ethanol and it's like, no, I'll pass on that. But this is a spice kick. It's a whiskey kick. I mean, it's a proof kick. So this has everything I'm looking for in a rye. Absolutely. So that was just a fantastic taste. Let's go again. Now that time, I kept it in my mouth a little bit longer, and I started getting a little bit of that eraser taste, and I'm not a fan of that. So the difference was, the first sip, I didn't keep it in my mouth very long. I mean, I didn't gulp it. I tasted everything and swallowed. This one, I swished it around some, and I started getting that eraser taste. So the way for me to drink this is a little bit of a quicker swallow than lingering. But otherwise, everything else was the same. The spices, the kick, the long finish. So yeah, that's an outstanding whiskey. But again, that's just a tip, is that a lot of whiskey flavors depend on what you do with it in your mouth. If you swish it around, if you drink it real fast, if you drink it kind of a medium, uh, some of what you do with your tongue can affect the flavor of the whiskey. Topo Chico break to reset my palate a little bit. Okay, moving on to the Acre Texas Rye. Now that is very different. The two could not be more different. This, I'm really getting the rum and the Texas char comes out immediately and it lasts throughout. You're getting a heavy dose of wood char all the way through, and for some people, they don't like that. I've watched enough whiskey reviews to know that some people, when they do a Texas whiskey, as soon as they taste that heavy char, they're out. For me, it's amazing. We combine that with the rum flavor from the rum cask, and this whiskey is just fantastic. However, I'm not really getting much of the rye flavor. That rye flavor is obscured. And it's there, not at the start, kind of at the middle of the palate. It evolves. You get a little bit of the rye, but then the char overshadows it on the end, and the rum lingers as well. So the rye flavor is there, but it's muted throughout. There's so many other wonderful flavors. But here's the deal. In this competition, I'm looking for strong rye flavor. Now, at the end of this first level of competition, when I determine a winner, this is a double elimination tournament. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to take the losers. And the way this is panning out is that those with the heavy Texas char are losing in this first competition. But that doesn't mean that they're not my favorite. Here's the deal, that I'm going to have to try to decide, do I like the classic rye flavor? That's what I'm getting with Still Austin. Or do I like a little bit of rye with a heavy Texas flavor? That's what I'm getting with Acre, plus the rum cask finish. So that's going to require that second round of competition for the losers bracket. But tonight, I think we have a winner. And according to my rules, I'm going to have to go with Still Austin for the win. Right there. If you want a fantastic rye flavor, I would love to have that in a cocktail. I mean, that's just amazing. Strong rye flavor all day long. Still Austin. Still Austin for the win. So, next time, Blackland 100 versus Cotton Hollow 101. So Blackland is a product of Fort Worth, where I'm broadcasting from here. Cotton Hollow is, I think, a defunct whiskey. There's a long story to Cotton Hollow. I've shared it before. I may share a little bit next week, but I think Cotton Hollow is no more. So, you know, this will be a ghost whiskey. All right, well, that does it for Stab the Dragon tonight. If you drink, don't drive, be safe, and we'll see you next time out here.